Welcome back. Great match for you all tonight. Welcome to SVSU Esports. We have Overwatch Grand Finals here. Our Overwatch Red team has made it to Grand Finals. I'm Aquatic, joined by my fellow caster. Want to introduce himself?
Yeah, I'm Sword of Thunder here. Former player for the Overwatch White team here at SVSU. We're gonna go straight into this. It looks like.
No long intro from us. No yapping. We just get straight to the gameplay this time. This should be a really high quality match. Starting out on Control, we see Samoa. Saginaw's going to have a pretty brawly combo. I believe this would be considered a rush comp. You got the Queen. You got some speed. You got a lot of mobility. But here, Northwestern, we should have mentioned. If any of Northwestern College, if any of you guys are here, welcome. That is fine too. Saginaw looks like they're going to start winning the team fight, but it will get swung back. I think they kind of got a little spread out. They tried to get in, tried to make some space, but Northwestern just managed to hang on and not lose too many members and swing it back. They do have a lot more of that sustain. They have bigger health pools and whatnot. So if the fight drags on, Saginaw should be at a little bit of a disadvantage.
Yeah, we see the Ramatra here being the main matchup for the Junker Queen. Very much so, like, they're both very much so like the rush type comps where they kind of just go in full throttle, trying to get the first pick as possible. Junker Queen here, trying to like take some early pressure here onto the main point here. May's kind of very useful here for Northwestern, being able to just kind of play defensively, force them back. As Vinny makes an offensive push, but Reggie goes down very early into the fight as Genji is unable to get a pick onto either support line. This fight does end up going to Northwestern, as SVSU just eventually just chips themselves down and kind of just stagger away.
I think you bring up a really good point with the Mei there, Sword. Mei, of course, known for slowing down the enemies, using the primary fire to keep enemies slow down. And again, Saginaw has a little bit less like actual HP and a little bit more speed. So with the Mei there to slow things down, as well as the Ramatra to just stay alive longer, should be a little bit difficult for Saginaw to find that quick rush that they want, that overwhelm that they're looking for. But they do end up in a little bit of a scrap. They do end up taking the point eventually. Northwestern's going to end up grouping up back on the right side of the map. We're going to invest the Queen. I'll hit all of them. The entirety of Northwestern is going to be purple, not going to be able to receive any healing. We're going to have to invest the Lucio ultimate, but it's a little bit too late. One of them does go down, a few more. Lucio will just make it out of there, but it's a really even fight. The two tanks are dueling it out. May's here to help. Viddy does find the kill. It's just the Mei left. Oh, wait, is that on the April Fool's patch? Wait, were those the googly eyes?
Yeah, the googly eyes are just permanent though. But yeah, no. April Fool's patch lasts throughout the week, I believe. So everyone's got googly eyes today.
Nothing says esports like googly eyes on all the characters.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Let's see. Again, holding this side, playing up on this high ground, you can see they're a little bit spread out, but this gives Saginaw a lot of versatility as to where they want to take these fights. The Northwestern's really just trying to punch through the main force of it, break the team in half. Effort will find the first kill, and down goes another one. Viddy does get one before going down, but it's going to be a 4v3. Crispy, though, with an insane Genji Blade, finds the Baptiste, might be able to bring it together. Down goes the Lucio. I think everyone's gone for Saginaw. Maybe there's one more left.
There's Reggie.
Investing the overclock. Trying to win this fight. He does find the tanks, the 1v1 with the Mei. No one's there right now. Who can hit the shots? Lucio is back from Saginaw. That's going to be really big. Here comes the rest of the team with some insane ult usage between the Genji Blade and the overclock there. Saginaw manages to turn that fight around. They lost so many members early, but that's what we call a hero moment right there.
Absolutely. I feel like part of that too is like someone managed to pull the Ramatra away, like Northwestern Ramatra away early. That basically forced it to a solo ult from the Ramatra, meaning there wasn't a lot of like team value, meaning Saginaw can come back later, get after like a couple of people are just weak, come back later, get all those kills, come back, take the point back. We see Mei from Northwestern here trying to like overhaul the point, drops the Blizzard, hopefully trying to get some people out. But the Kiri Suzu just managed to keep everyone alive as Kirsty picks up that last kill, and that is site one for Saginaw Valley.
That was a little bit unexpected. I heard from a couple of the players, heard their chats. They were expecting this to be a tough match, and it looks like that's exactly what we're gonna get. Both teams here really seem like they know what's going on. This is the grand finals. This is what it was all coming towards for their division. And I really liked, especially what you said, like that splitting up of the tank. Saginaw, as they were defending, they were quite spread out. Their DPS and healers were in the back. You saw Viddy just standing on that high ground, trying to take the brunt of the initial force. But lo and behold, even like being so spread out, they managed to separate the fights where they wanted, sneak people into the back line, and Northwestern just couldn't find the kills that they needed before Saginaw picked them all off. They like distracted, they ran away, they buzzed around the tank, while Viddy for Saginaw just went into the back line.
Exactly. Saginaw played really well that map, playing to the like how close off that point is, making it really crucial to get keep some of that value down from overclock from Ramatra ult. As we go on to second map here, we see a very early skirmish here on the high ground above the bridge. Saginaw trying to take some early pressure, gets a really couple good headings there from the Genji. We see Viddy going in here, getting a decent carnage, pulling a lot of damage onto that tank, forcing out Arms to be defensive here. Ooh, forcing out Lamp 2 is huge at this level. That's a downed tank too. Saginaw Valley getting a lot of early pressure here. Viddy able to just walk in, gets a good carnage, picks off the Mei, forcing them all back and forcing them to have to regroup here. That is a very early capture for Saginaw on this map.
The cooldown cycles are really different between these two teams. Saginaw's trying to use the health pool of their tank, trying to use the Genji deflect, as well as the speed that they get from Lucio to keep like that front line shifting around, whilst Northwestern is trying to again use the health of their tank, as well that shield, the wall from the Mei, and the lamp. So how these two teams are cycling their cooldowns and who they want in the front at given times are a little bit different, and it looks like Saginaw just got the upper hand in who they had out front there. Although, as much as we can talk about like those MOBA aspects of the game, sometimes an Icicle just gets the first pick there.
The Chrome Dome.
A couple more will go down. Saginaw lost the player early, and it's kind of hard in this game once you're down a player. It can be a little bit rough to try to win the fight from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of just forces SVSU back, getting some charge here up, or some point capture for Northwestern. We see Ramatra kind of holding up pretty high up, trying to make sure there's enough visibility for the supports and especially that Sojourn to be able to just take a lot of value just poking into the room. We see Viddy here pulling out the tank from his defensive position, forcing out both defensive options right into a Kitsune rush as the Baptiste goes for a window, trying to stem off them SVSU from using up that Kitsune. But I don't know how well it's working because the map itself is getting pushed out. As we see both Junker Queen ult and Lucio come out from SVSU, kind of just running into that back line. Oh my god, for 3 ultimates, that's huge. Getting the Sojourn and the Baptiste there is kind of big. Especially as you, SVSU really splitting up that fight. They had 2 main figures. They had Ramatra on one end and the Junker Queen on the back line, just trying to get, just by splitting up that fight so much, it really makes it a lot harder for either team really to rely on a backline and just go for as many kills as possible.
Those tank trade your backlines is a big staple of Overwatch that was a lot less present in Overwatch 1. If anyone's watching who played a lot of Overwatch 1, the strategy that ends up happening, or at least like how teamfights end up working, is the tanks kind of just run past each other because they know it's hard to kill each other, and they just try to kill the other team's like healers before the other team can do it. And Queen is very good at assassinating the backline. Ramatra tends to stick with his team a little bit better. And while that means he can help out his backline a little bit more by playing with them, also means he can't quite get the kills onto the other teams. Saginaw's playing around that really well. Ooh, the Ramatra, the arms, that is really difficult. If you all get grouped up in that room there, all that extra damage that Northwestern's putting out is going to stack up. You do have the Genji in the backline doing a little extra damage, taking away some of that attention. Attention is such a powerful resource to manage in this game. If you can take attention away, it can be a lot. Saginaw will be able to keep alive a little bit longer, but probably not anything else here. Northwestern played this very well. They seem to start catching on to the tricks that Saginaw was putting out there. They seem to have a better grasp of when they should be grouped up, when it was okay to split up, when it's better to peel. They played around the map geometry very well.
Exactly.
They played indoors when they could. I think Northwestern played. I'd also like to point out how fast these teams got to their 3rd perk. They're of course already on their 3rd perk now, but it was almost immediately.
Genji had it at the end of first map.
It was
insane.
It was so fast, and that's because at this level people are outputting so much more damage because they are hitting all their headshots, but also more healing. And those are the 2 ways you build your build your meter as
meter.
well as for ult charge. That's why we see more ultimates. That's so interesting. Almost all the people had it within a fight or two of that second point.
Exactly, and I feel like this map's going to go a lot better for SVSU. The previous map geometry was a lot more centered around 2 major choke points, one on each side, of course, so it makes it easier for Ramacho to defend them. You just sit that choke, you block it. This one has a lot more routes to it. You have the right side there with, like, you can go into the building, get some good vantage points there, and then you also have the main line and, like, the surrounding high ground as well. So that's going to be very useful for Saginaw here to, like, just put a Sojourn up in a corner, start thinking those headshots, getting that value. We see out of course, like this brawl here at first point, trying to get that initial like control point objective that enables you to be able to go for those like roundabout areas and get those like high ground potential. We do see 2 fall early from Saginaw Valley, followed up by Vidi the tank. This is kind of just like the first. I cannot speak today, goodness. First fight does go to Northwestern, but I do think SVSU does have a plan moving forward about how to handle this.
Switching over to the Zarya, so they're trading a lot of their speed and like pick-off potential for that frontline pressure. Zarya is very good at just soaking up damage and turning that right into raw power with the bubbles that she puts out. It soaks up projectiles, and then that 0 right in the middle, that's how much damage she's turned into charge. And she can put out a lot of frontline pressure here, as well as keep people alive. Crispy got taken out right at the start here. Meek is doing a really good job as well. Both of the DPS from Northwestern are starting to do a fantastic job of checking this Genji and making sure that he can't just run rampant in the back line. You know, really has to play carefully, can't just get a bunch of free value. I see falling quite, like being the first one down a lot of times, and that's due to that attention and that care from Northwestern, making sure that they're staying attentive to that.
Yeah, it's definitely like a huge hindrance when one of your DPS just goes down right off the bat, and you just lose a lot of offensive pressure. That means you can't get a backline pick as easy. So that's probably where the Zarya pick came from. You just bubble the Genji. Bubble the Genji means that he's guaranteed at least a little bit of, like a minimum amount of survival time. That means that he can go get someone, get a pick, get like crucial damage to force someone out of the fight. We do see though that Northwestern's Sojourn here, just sitting in the back corner, getting a lot of free value, just being able to look all across the map. Popping the overclock into the Lucio ult from both sides even, and the back window. A lot of ults are being used this fight. It's a very crucial fight here. It's like probably the last fight for SVSU to take the point.
Ooh, that Maywall to split the team in half is going to be critical, as well as the Ramatra ult to output a bunch of damage. It's just too much for Saginaw to be able to handle at one time. The team's trading their ult right at the start. They both just kind of backed up and let each other have the space. But as soon as Saginaw kind of ran out of ults and got split in half, it was just over. They got crushed between that wall and that Ramatra ult, and that was just too much there. Northwestern will take the first map, though at a 1-2. So we definitely have a good match.
Absolutely.
For the rest of it. There's the googly eyes.
Googly Eyes on Ramatra is by far the best application of Googly Eyes I think Overwatch has ever done. There isn't a funnier character to see him on.
It's easily one of the best. Yeah.
Zenyatta's also pretty up there, but for a different reason. He's very chill and tranquil, so like the Googly Eyes doesn't do much. But Ramatra, he low-key a maniac. He low-key like he's just so serious, so deadpan that seeing the Googly Eyes just makes it so infinitely more funny.
Oh, it's so good. And it's I don't wait. Does Anna have only one googly eye?
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I was about to make a joke. Actually, some Bastion skins only also have one googly eye.
Interesting.
Like the default has 2, but like the coffin one, where like the little like his back panel is like a coffin, and like his head's a lantern. Like that one always got one googly eye, and it's just one big one, and it's just like, bro, what the?
Oh, that's so good. I was about to say like, oh, and it gets at least 2 eyes again, but no, not anymore. Interesting to see where we'll go from here. Are we going to circuit? Is that where we're headed? Oh, that sounds awesome.
And we're also swapping Shadow for Zippy here from SVSU. We're getting a quick little substitution here.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to go to Circuit Royale. So for those unfamiliar with the map, Circuit Royale is the poke map. Wide open sight lines, Widowmaker heaven. We'll see probably Ramatra or Sigma at least on one of the teams. Maybe some sim teleporting. I'm excited. A lot of the maps and game balances try to push towards a more brawly, you know, like actually get in the fight kind of thing. But this is one of the leftovers of a still, you know, hey, I'm gonna sit here behind a shield and shoot the enemy from afar.
I'm gonna sit here in my corner.
There's always a room for that. You know what I mean? I sit in the corner, look across the map. Exactly.
Become the COD sniper of your dreams, or camper, I should say. Just sitting in that corner.
Although for some, for those astute who haven't played very much, you might notice a difference here or there with the map. They did a rework, for example, there's a couple more entrances on the high ground. They made this little high ground on the left not accessible for the defenders. They've kind of shifted up the map and made it a little bit more of an option to try to like go around and brawl, and instead of just trying to outpoke the other team. They've added in some more stuff. But it's still poke. They've added counterplay, but it's still a poke map. Yeah. And I think it's a fun map to play on. I have a lot of good times on this map. Yeah. Maybe that's just because I play a lot of sniper.
That's equally fair.
I play Hanzo and Widow quite a bit.
Speaking of Hanzo Widow,
perfectly biased.
Oh. Yeah, we do see here Northwestern going for that double sniper Sigma, just maintaining a lot of, just being able to stick to a high ground, provide a lot of poke potential, a lot of pressure from just that one area. Bap is kind of an interesting pick with poke, more often than not. I do understand though that recently he's been low key kind of like cracked, almost just because of the recent changes. Oh, that crucial snap on a Crispy from Meek is actually huge. Another one by Meek.
Oh, those shots. One could say those shots were crispy.
Indeed.
The only difference between these two teams is going to be Reggie on the Sojourn for Saginaw, and useless.
Yeah, useless.
I think that's useless on the Hanzo for Northwestern.
Oobless. Sorry, Oobless, not useless. Oobless.
I will go with Oobless. Oh, Meek is just absolutely shredding right now, and that's what Widowmaker can do. It's still the big one shot. With that Hanzo, you're going to have a little bit more poke. You're going to be able to see through walls with that Sonic Air. That's going to help out your Widow a little bit. And Sojourn's going to give you just a little bit better sustained pressure with still that ability to pump out a bunch of damage with the fully charged railgun to the head.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot of sense. The attacking team has a little bit more pressure, a little bit more speed, and the defending team have that Hanzo really leaning into, I'm just going to sit here and shoot from afar. Saginaw just cannot find their perch here. They're, I think, trying to move around a little bit more. I think we're sending the Hanzo or the Widow up on the high ground a little bit more. I think we're trying to use that room, but it's gonna be a very difficult map to get through. If you can't get those pokes, if you can't outpoke the defense, your only other real option is either a sim teleport with like a Reinhardt into the back line, or you try to go a dive comp with like Monkey and you just try to jump on them and like just get to them before they can shoot you.
Yeah, this is very much so one of those cases of the better Widow will win this map if you're trying to go for the duel. We do see here though, Viddy here getting some like trying to attempt at like some early like poke potential, but he just kind of he doesn't really have a whole lot of like follow up there. Baptiste and Zen are very limited by like Zen has short healing output, and then Baptiste is very much so distantly, like you have to be very careful about your distances because you can't really you can lob them for sure, but it's a lot harder to lob a healing nade than it is to just shoot an auto rifle.
That's true. Oh, that's very true. Oh, switching over to that bit more of that dive, we're gonna see the Doomfist as well as the Kiriko, who can both just try to get in there. But sticking with some of the poke, we still have the Sojourn. We still see Sojourn from Saginaw. We still see the Widow. We still see the Baptiste. So still having some of the team be back in poke, but sending forward the tank and one of the healers to try to distract as much as possible and set up those the snipers to do their job.
Yeah, if you can get the Widow attention away from the main line, again, attention being very crucial here, you can really kind of just provide, like, you can then counter snipe the Widow because the Widow's not focused on you, it's focused on the Doomfist just running at him, you know? So, like, it gives Crispy the opportunity to go in and get that Widow as well. We do see, though, this is definitely a rough one here. We see the Doomfist here kind of being able to hold his own, fortunately, but it's very much so like you still have to care about the Widow. You can never really just ignore her.
That's just always a looming threat. Especially if you don't know where the Widowmaker is. Oh my gosh, fantastic. That I hadn't even considered it. When you Sigma ult people up in the air, they're just up in the air to be shot, and they're just gonna get Widowmaker headshot.
Yeah, this definitely does seem like a case of you're kind of just getting Widow diffed, and you kind of just need you need to start playing around it. It feels like low key because there's only so much that a Doomfist can do if everyone immediately just turns to him and just blows him up from behind, you know.
We have seen Chris be very effective on the Genji. I wonder if they try to make that happen. If they do get the second point, maybe they switch over and try something different. Investing as many ults as possible, the Hanzo ult to really split up the team, though that's going to be a problem.
We have the Bat plus overclock.
The overclock, that's going to be a lot of one-shot potential. Won't get all the kills, but at least find some damage over on the side. Investing, there's the Zenyatta ult to keep everybody alive. A couple of the kills are coming in for Northwestern.
It's just Baptiste holding that point down, though. That Baptiste does not have lamp either, so we really need to be careful here. We see Crispy pull out the Widow, but there is no one on card, unfortunately, and they are botted blocking Crispy from touching.
Yeah.
So that is round 1.
Though, they do get the card all the way around the corner and halfway to the next corner, which is holdable. We saw how long it took Saginaw just to break through that initial point and get to that corner. If they can keep Northwestern there and never let them get to that corner, that's a very doable prospect.
Absolutely.
Tough, but doable. We'll see. I expect we'll probably see the mirror again, just because it worked out so well. And I know it's a little bit harder to like do that poking when you're on attack because you're on like the low ground and you know you can't just set up. You have to actually walk towards the enemy into their line of sight. Yeah. But I still think that's going to be the plan. The other option would be a dive. Nope, we're going to see that. That is what we're going to see.
Yeah. As
kind of expected. I feel like I don't think they'll switch anything up here. I think the actual heroes make a lot of sense.
Absolutely, and I feel like to some extent too.
Whoop, like, never mind.
Well, okay, we say that, and then we see Ryan May.
Ryan May, Widow, Baptiste, Bastion May. So this is a brawl comp. This is a brawl comp with a little extra poke with the Bastion and Baptiste. They're more pokey, but also a little bit more mid-range pokey.
They're very mid-range pokey, especially Bastion, because if you're in the mid-range, you can just pop the turret. Brrr, everyone's gone.
Oh, are they playing sneaky in the room? This is a classic Vidi strategy.
I mean, it makes sense. If you can't out-poke, you bring the fight to the people that want to poke, and you go into the backline and you pop some heads. You know,
going for the charge, trying to find a sneaky kill right at the start, playing around this May wall. This room is going to be where they set up. They don't. Northwestern does not get the line of sights they want when everyone's playing in a room or around this corner here. They have to push in, and Northwestern is not equipped to push into this comp at all. If they get careless for even a second, they're going to get May walled off, and they have absolutely nothing that can break through a May wall. They do not have a lot of damage. They just have, one shot.
Well, that was the case until Meek swapped off the Bastion. Ooh. There is a bit more turret breaking potential or shield breaking potential here, and a lot more damage potential there. But we do see a lot of early picks coming off from SVSU. It is just the Bap and Sigma here.
Vidi staying alive for that fight despite getting down to I think double-digit HP numbers. That just shows how good the sustain and the supports line.
Not to mention the Baptiste already having ultimate when the other Baptiste only has 60.
Yeah.
That'd be the GOAT right here for Vidi.
For keeping Vidi alive. Absolutely insane. We do see Effort has that Sigma ult online. That Flux could really shred, especially here if they lift everybody so they can't look through the BAP window. Oh, that Bastion just does so much damage though, as well as the charge shots from the end. We're gonna see, will it find any kills? It can't quite. Investing the Lucio ult to keep everybody alive here. People are gonna get on a little bit low HP, but neither team's gonna lose any players. Kind of trading out a couple of ults. We're gonna see Vidi get in there with the slam, finds the slam onto the tank, or finds it onto the Zenyatta. Will Vidi go down? Will they be able to keep it? Can't quite, but makes a lot of space. Meek finds one onto J-Rod and another one onto Zippy. Everyone ends up going down as soon as Vidi went down. As soon as they lost that pillar in the front line, the rest fell.
But to do it though, they had to pop three ults. Or no, the Maze knew. But they've had to pop 2 ults, I think. They popped the Soldier Rail and they popped the Sig ult. And even then, they only did that for what? Shatter and Beat.
Beat. Also for Window. However, they didn't get out some of the critical ability. May ult can completely stop this. Oh, the payload has googly eyes.
Speaking of, we see him hit 3, forcing out the Zen ult here. That's going to be huge. We see the Cassidy off from Reggie here, being able to just pick a lot of early damage, a lot of headshots. Getting off that Sojourn is going to be huge for making sure this Crispy can stay alive.
but the kills, it just ends up not being able to brawl out. Saginaw had to rush to get to the point, so they really didn't have the time to set up the fight that they wanted. They had to get a little bit spread out, play around cover in different parts of the map, and just got a little bit torn apart.
Exactly, and with people being so far spread out, and like in that corner specifically, there's a lot of like hard to see around like cover. You got like the little in the backside by the statue. You got those little panels there. All of those make it really difficult unless you're over in that general area to begin with to really see a tank or to see especially like the squishiers, the DPS, the supports, to really make sure that they're properly supported and healed to make sure they can live through those brawls. And then even still, like, yes, Vidi was on like the main cart, but he was blocked by an entire building. Yeah. And he was by standing on top of the cart, it kind of prevented like a Baptiste from shooting the grenades at the bottom of the cart to get the full healing effect. You know, it was just kind of, by not being able to set up the fight as much as they wanted to, it forced them into a really poor positioning for the support line of sight to be able to help keep that Ryan alive, to help keep the team alive.
Absolutely. Although it was a very good effort from Saginaw. I loved the switch. It was a lot of fun to watch. Playing around that room was super fun, and I loved the versatility there. Switching over just the one character to Bastion, switching Meek from Widow to Bastion, just to kind of take away a lot of that pressure that Ryan can put out. Really put a stopper in what Saginaw wanted to do. That was a really good call from Northwestern, and they played it very well. Very well. Just one map left if Northwestern gets the next one, but we could still get up to 3 more. It's best 3 out of 5. Northwestern is currently up 2-0, but there's still more to be played. Oh, are we going to see? I think the next one is Hybrid, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Or is it Flashpoint? Is it Push? The third one isn't Push, is it?
Third one's Push, yes.
What?
They split up the Hybrid versus Escort. And they're not back-to-back.
Alas. So I guess we'll get the Push. Although I think some of the Push maps are still kind of fun. I enjoy all the Push maps.
Personally, I find it interesting that after how well they saw the Widow do on Circuit Royale, that they took away the best Push map for a Widow in Coliseo. But every team has their strategies, especially when it comes to maps. That's definitely like when I played on the white team, that was one of our biggest issues was we could play well as a team, but our map pool is relatively small. We weren't able to be very versatile with it. So we kind of just had to we know this one is our worst, but in comparison to a lot of other maps that we were the worst at. And so it kind of would hinder our performance a bit. Up at this level, I'm sure a lot of them can play pretty much any map and then within their pool of characters, play all of them equally well for each of those maps. But it's still one of those cases where it's like, if you know something works, why are you trying to fix it?
Yeah, if it ain't broke, they say. If it ain't broke. Well, the Esperanza still allows for a bit of poking. I've still seen, some Ashes. I've still seen some Widows. But I've also seen some Flyers on this map. I'm kind of excited to see where this goes. I think Esperanza really allows for each team to show their personality and show what kind of comps they like and what kind of creativity they can come up with, because there's a lot of high ground, but there's routes to get there for any brawlers.
Yeah, it's not like it's super out of the way either, so it's not like it's a dive specific map for those getting to those routes or getting to those high grounds. No, you can kind of play whatever on Esperanza, and that's why especially in terms of when you're looking at the lower ranks, a lot of people don't like Esperanza because they'll pick their favorite character on it and they'll get dumpstered on, and it's like, well, but I want to play my character, and then this doesn't work, and I know it works, but the team, because it's so versatile, you can really afford to be if they're playing poke, we're just gonna play dive, or if they're playing dive, we're gonna grab a Reinhardt and we're just gonna put up our shield and say, no, you're not coming.
Yeah, and I think that's a big strength of the map. Although last time we spectated for this, or at least recently, we saw some dive, or at least I've seen a lot of dive
versus
on this
dive
map.
The last time we spectated.
If we had, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say we'll see Monkey or Ball from Saginaw. I'm not sure what the other. Hey, look at that.
It's Monkey.
Two dive comps.
And pretty mirrored, with the exception of Meek and Jiden being Tracer and Sombra's respectively.
Oh, it's gonna take so long to switch the names in my head. Bo Jiden. Oh, I'm gonna have to. There was a name switch. It was not Bo Jiden Pog.
It used to be Joe Biden Pog, as in the past president. Joe Biden.
It's gonna take a second. I'll do my best. So the difference here, both Sombra and Tracer do a very similar thing, except Sombra just does it in a little bit sneakier of a way, a little bit less damage, but a little bit more support. It should accomplish relatively the same thing. We could go into detail, but it'll do the same thing. Both these teams, it is a strong map for dive. Even if you can play other things, Rush is pretty popular on this map. Brawl works as well. Dive is something I've seen quite a bit. It's definitely a favored one, even if there are other options.
And we do see an early Suzu come out from Northwestern. We'll see how Saginaw can really kind of capitalize on that.
Both teams getting really low. I don't think anyone's on 100 HP. Bojiden finds the first one onto Meek. J-Rod finds another. It should just be the rest falling from there. Once you lose 2 members and it's a 5v3, it's pretty much a one team fight.
Especially, it kind of is, but I've definitely seen some cases where like someone that's on relatively more near health and like with a support can kind of break down the weakened 5-man. It kind of just depends on the skill level, but this lobby definitely it is kind of just you lose 2, you kind of just GG go next, plan for the next fight. We see here Vidi kind of forcing this Tracer away from the SVSU's backline, kind of preventing like an entire angle, especially because like Genji and Sombra alone can kind of keep the majority of Northwestern at bay between their split able to poke and Genji's Shurikens being a relatively decent poking tool.
That's a good point about the pokes. Both these teams have like 1 or 2 tools to poke. You have the kunais, you have the right clicks. You can throw some Genji Shurikens, and that can make the team fight as you get a little bit of extra damage on the way in. Meek finds one, Vidi and J-Rod finding a couple more. It looks like it's going to go Saginaw favored. They do invest the ultimate from Winston, although a little bit of a fight back here. Effort finds one onto J-Rod. Vidi finds the kill back onto Effort. And Saginaw didn't win that without any cost. They lost a couple players. They had to invest the Winston ults.
But the positive there is that the Kiriko kind of just pushed the bot to the checkpoint.
The
Kiriko literally was relatively uncontested and kind of was just able to sit there and like just look at the rest of the team and just kind of heal them like just from a safe distance while still getting a lot of good objective value out of this. We see Northwestern kind of playing into that room and to the EMP, followed up by SVSU's beat.
They're just winning the team fight there. When you get a whole bunch of players just like half their health gone and they can't use abilities for a second, and then you pop the Lucio ult to keep everybody alive, that's just a clean team fight. Just no ands or buts about it. Very clean from Saginaw. And again, you can see now they're very much down in the ult economy. But hey,
especially after
better over ult than under ult.
Exactly. Plus, here we see a switch from Northwestern going from Genji to Reaper, kind of helping someone is just preventing Winston from just jumping in willy-nilly. We see a trading of Kitsunes. We see SVSU's Blade going into the Northwestern beat.
The Lucio, the dodge, and the weave can't quite do it.
I think this is a Northwestern fight. We see, this is Northwestern's fight.
Yep.
We see the Winston, the Reaper being able to just kind of stave off any form of offensive pressure. Just being able to just dunk full shotgun blast into the monkey's forehead is going to make it a pain for Vidi to really do a whole lot without being super careful about it.
I'm really interested to see where Saginaw goes from here, because they could just try to play back. They say, hey, we've pushed the bot a lot further. We could just wait, play defensively, not get too crazy, and just win the fight by stalling out the timer. Or they could, because they have kind of a lot of momentum. They won like 3 team fights in a row. They could try to push it and just keep their advantage going. I'm interested to see. It seems like they're waiting a little bit, but they're waiting to pounce. I think they're going to end up trying to take some team fights. Meek does find the kill onto Crispy, so I think Saginaw is... Oh, they're going to go try to flip this. Send everyone in the back line, keeping everyone up. Effort finds the one on J-Rod. Bojiden does find one, but Meek finds a few more. There's only like 1 or 2 left alive for Saginaw. As Somber goes down, that'll mark the eyes. Oh, wait, Vidi is popping Primal? What? Oh, I guess there was a lot of distraction just to stay alive, maybe?
Yeah, mostly to stay alive, but it also ended up helping being able to pick off the kill on the Lucio. Kind of forcing the supports to be really split off. Maybe allowing for Somber to go in the backline and pick some, like, maybe just spawn camp a support or 2. We do see, though, Crispy really low here, but with Northwestern popping the Primal to guarantee that the Genji does fall back.
This is just one long team fight as people keep trickling in. They bounce out for a second just to regroup with somebody and come back in. No team is really getting the upper hand here. Trading ults back and forth. We've seen both Primals. We see the Somber ult online. We see a Reaper ult online. We might see that. I think we're going to see the EMP. No, there's the Reaper ult to find a couple of kills. Crispy's in the back line to find one on NECC, but it's not going to be enough. Winston versus Genji is a very bad time for the poor Cyborg Ninja. You cannot reflect or really get through. Can't reflect his laser beam, and you can't break through all of that HP. It's really rough if you get caught out without dash.
Yep. We do see though that Bo Jiden swaps off from Sombra to Reaper as well. Kind of pulling an inverse of the mirror match almost. You trade the Sombra for the Reaper instead of the Genji. Playing SVSU playing around this main little room hallway here, trying to like just get some early picks, force some attention diversion. We see both Kitsunes come out here.
Both fights are going crazy back and forth. Everyone's at really low HP.
Oh, the beat from Northwestern's huge. That beat was huge for Northwestern. That really kind of, I think that just won them the team fight, honestly, because otherwise there was a couple of low targets there that would not have been, like, that would have just gotten picked off and made it a lot easier for SVSU to kind of just sustain out of it. And at least, at the bare minimum, get some, like, at least trade kills. So you're like, you only have 3 on the bot versus all 5. But that beat really just turned the tide for Northwestern.
Everyone is trickling back in here, getting ready for the next team fight, but Saginaw has to win this one. If they can't, Northwestern's going to push the bot even further, and trying to get any more progress when the bots are pushed this far is really tough. Investing the ultimate right at the start of the Genji in the back line. 4v4, Viddy finds one more. It's 4v3, 4v2, 4v1 Saginaw favor. There's only the Winston left alive.
Honestly, because they popped beat at the end to secure that fight, that's what enabled Crispy on Genji to go get those nano blade kills. Or not even nano blade, just those blade kills in general. Just being able to run back there, having the only thing I got to worry about in terms of a burst heal option or survive option is a Suzu. Yeah. And even then, if we can pop the Suzu early or force the Kiri to TP out of a crucial target like the Lucio or the Tracer, that's just game over. They just lose 2. They lose 1, lose 2, and that's like makes it infinitely easier for Saginaw Valley. We do see Northwestern's Tracer though, kind of just being able to like a nuisance in the SVSU's backline, trying to find some poking damage where it can, getting chunked down to very low health by that Genji that was very huge.
Maybe trying to find a kill. You do have that pulse bomb, just kind of a pick at will. As well as the primal. Here comes the Reaper ult online. Saginaw's going to have to do something interesting to play around these ultimates, or at least build one up of their own to try to counter. Finding a pick early will do it. They're now up a player. That's going to be huge, especially up a tank. And
up a support, up on ult. Tracer did miss the pulse bomb, unfortunately for Northwestern. As Saginaw Valley just kind of holds their, I guess, big pack room is what I'm going to call that.
Yeah.
As SVSU takes control of the high ground here, just getting ready for this next fight. Reaper and Genji kind of taking the front line here, making sure that like the Winston can't afford to go into the back line. Oh, we see.
There it is. Oh, but it got
my God. But the boop got the Tracer.
They found 2. Wait, and it's a 3v3 right now. Both have found 2 kills. Though Northwestern popping the Winston ult to get that extra little bit that they need. And I think it's going to go Northwestern unless the Reaper can pop off in the back line against the healers. Although the boop is going to go crazy. I think that Lucio has the extra boop distance because that Reaper went flying.
Yeah, honestly though, that's kind of what ended up like enabling the Reaper to get 2 off that first initial like fight. But because they were so close, it didn't really matter in the end because those 2 just came back right out of spawn and were just fully prepped, ready to go to finish the fight. We do see though that SVSU does have their own Kitsune now online, ready for this final 60-second, 70-second fight. We see Viddy popping the primal early, forcing the Suzu out of the Kiri and the Swift Step. As both teams pop their beats, trying to sustain this fight out as long as they can, try to get the first pick. We trade Kiri for Lucio here, as Meek pops the Lucio. Tracer no recall into the, but it is just the Reaper. It is just the Reaper at this point, I think.
The Reaper and a monkey in the back line taking as much as attention as possible. Trying to stay alive. Doesn't look like it's going to quite be enough. Northwestern takes it, but here we are down to the last fight. Northwestern has to win this to stay up. Saginaw has no particular need to get in there. They can wait. They can group up. They can take their time here. While, yeah, Northwestern has 2 ults online. Saginaw isn't very far behind. Blade's just popping up now, as well as they have the Kitsune. Not having the Kitsune to come back, that's going to be a really big problem for Northwestern.
Especially having traded the Lucio beat earlier for that previous fight. We see that Genji pop out Blade. Gets Tracer,
Meek can never find 2. Meek can never find 2 right at the start of the match. I don't know if they're going to be able to do anything The Reaper finds one for Saginaw. Oh, but the Suzu, the Reaper in the backline, though, they're keeping it alive.
The Reaper getting
keeping each other alive. I can't believe this. They lost 2 right at the start, but they found 4 kills. They're going to find the last one. They actually win that team fight. Saginaw takes map 3 there.
Bo Jiden really being Pog, living up to that name.
The prophecy fulfilled. Pog's accomplished.
Into the shrugging T-pose.
Into the T-pose, Vinny getting that play of the game. Oh no, the pumpkin is alive. Pumpkin is alive. Both teams' Winston players did a great job with their primals. I thought they popped him at good times. I saw a lot of kills. Getting kills with primal is very difficult. It's very technical. You gotta know all these like jumps and these combos and whatnot. I saw a lot of primal kills in the kill feed. It shows the skill level that they're at. Staying alive for another game here. Saginaw brings it up to 2-1. They got to win 2 games in a row. Northwestern's just got to take 1 here. Servasa, so we're going to Flashpoint. If anyone's, again, from Overwatch 1 and is, I don't know, Flashpoint is like 5 smaller control points.
It's 2 CP, but more fun because they're not predetermined the order.
2 CP, but more fun. Both teams can fight over the control points. They take up about, I think it's like 1.7 times as fast. So
yeah.
It goes a lot faster than control point, and it's all on the same map. It's very fast. Brawly comps tend to be pretty good. Something but with a mix of brawl and speed. We've seen Queen, Junker Queen be a very strong pick on this map.
Ramatra is really good.
We can see Ramatra, though. It looks like, ooh, interesting from Saginaw. The picks at the start here.
Well, that wasn't the start. That was just the
was that the
little skirmish menu. So they pick random so they don't give away their strategy.
This makes sense. I was very excited that we were about to see the Junkrat. And then, like, Anna and Ball. And that was going to be interesting.
The team combo of a lifetime.
Anna Ball, and I think there was a Genji.
Anna Ball, Genji, Junkrat.
It was gonna be a time. We'll see what they have here in just a second. It's a very pretty map, very brawly, but with some open spaces. We do see the Queen comp coming out from Saginaw.
We see the Queen. We see the mirrored Lucio and the mirrored Mei on both teams. Very crucial picks for this. Lucio making sure you get the points fast, giving you a lot more it gives you a lot more fight time because again with the increased tick rate, it makes it a lot harder. Where if you lose a team fight, it is entirely possible you could just lose that point and you just have to go next. But Lucio makes it a lot easier where if you're losing at a low percent, it means that instead of like 1 fight, you get 2. And then you have the Mei, very crucial here. Again, with speed being everything, someone that just counters speed by just slowing you down is very crucial. Plus, especially on Surabasa, there's a lot of smaller hallways that just enable like the Mei wall to get a lot of value.
Primary fire, yeah, absolutely.
We see difference though being in Genji and Sojourn, 2 very high speed, very you get some good dinks on them, you're gonna one-shot combo somebody.
Also have the Baptiste from Northwestern versus the Kiriko for Saginaw. So again, that speed versus poke thing. First kill's gonna go for Saginaw, but going right back, losing the tank. Saginaw's gonna be in a little bit of a rough spot, but the tank is very low for Northwestern. If they can get this kill, they might have a shot. Crispy does find it, keeping it relatively even here, though gets walled off. Can Joe Biden find one in the back? Finds the kill. Bo Jiden finds the kill. Can they keep anything alive? I think they have. Northwestern has one on point to try to pick things up.
Yeah, but with the Kiriko's right around the corner.
So close. Finds one. Saginaw will get the point.
SVSU does manage to get the point, though. They force the Sojourn off point, meaning SVSU is able to kind of take some early pressure here.
For me, the 2 damages heroes from Northwestern just keeping Saginaw on their toes, and they just swing the fight. Saginaw thought they had everything under control, but Meek found a pick, and then they got split up, and Northwestern is actually the ones to take that.
Yep, we see Bo Jiden switch off from the Mei and go Sombra. Again, kind of forcing this all-or-nothing kind of play style.
Get in the back line, find the kills, yeah.
Absolutely. The Kiri is going to be very useful because it means that if Sombra hits a rough spot, Kiri, especially after getting the perk that lets you kind of just double Swift Step, double TP, means that Kiri can just jump in, pop a Suzu, pop like some quick heals, and then just immediately dip right out again. We see the Genji here trying to force off of the Lucio and Sojourn from the high ground on top of point. As Northwestern does get 3 very crucial picks, honestly.
You see all the poke characters getting up on that high ground. Once they've set up on point, especially this point with the walls and the pillar in the middle, it can be really tough to get a foothold when you're trying to play something nice and fast. Saginaw is going to switch to a bit of a pokier comp themselves, pulling out the Ramatra. We'll see if that is enough while keeping the speed that they have in the rest of the comp. Ramacho can kind of keep up with the speed when he pops arms. He moves a little bit faster, and he can get in there and brawl and do some good damage. Saginaw will have enough time to get one extra fight going here. Someone's going to have to get on the point. Yep, there's Trigger the overtime. Finds the kill.
Get the meat kill is huge, honestly. That's a lot of like damage value, initial damage value loss, a lot of burst damage loss. We see Blizzard come out from Northwestern's May. Genji kind of just maybe touching the point, making sure that it can barely stay ticked. We see the Blade come out, followed up by the beat from Northwestern. A hack onto the May from Saginaw Valley here. Trying to make some early kills, but it just, they cannot break through the bead, unfortunately, and first point does go to Northwestern here.
Both players were playing fantastic. Crispy and Bojiden were both dancing around the other team, taking attention, managing the cooldowns, but Ramatra, May, and Lucio can just keep each other alive so well. They can sustain each other, they have some self-sustain. It's so hard to just zip around and kill them. You really need a full team to burst through that. It's really tough.
Yep, we see Bojiden here trying to get some early positioning, but this little poke out from Sojourn kind of reveals the position, kind of preventing him back. We see the bat ball immediately getting EMP'd, though, is huge. Into the overclock, but which picks off the Sombra.
May finds one meek, but the counter, the play. Northwestern just outplaying, just hitting their shots.
Unreal. Popping, what was that, 2 for 2? 2 for 1 because the blade was popped last fight, but even still, like, there was a lot there. Like, EMPing the Baffle made it a lot easier for Saginaw to get on point, but the immediate follow-up by overclocking the Sojourn just made it really hard for the Sombra to be able to really poke out, and just took a lot of damage, forcing the Sombra to kind of just die early. And then, like, by having the overclock active, it just meant that you could just have a lot of burst damage potential onto the Genji, onto the Ramacha that would put a lot more pressure. We see Saginaw Valley, though, pushing point with Kitsune Rush. Genji kind of trying to get the Sojourn to no avail, as Northwestern comes out with the Annihilate, trying to make sure that point's held.
Down goes the Annihilate. Now with no tank, they're left in a really rough spot. Everyone's on low HP, and Northwestern, I think, is going to have to back up for this fight. But we've seen both teams swing fights when it's like these 2v2s, 2v3s. Saginaw will end up cleaning this one up.
But it's at a point where even at 81%, a Lucio speed alone cannot get you back to that point, meaning SVSU really needs to kind of keep holding on to this point the rest of this timer, otherwise it will go to Northwestern. We see Ramachi here getting chipped down to about half health really early, honestly, forcing out the wall. This is kind of a rough spot for him. He forces out wall, or he forces out arms. And immediately from SVSU, everyone just backs up and minimizes the value you get from it. Again, down to half HP. Bojiden kind of just running like.
There's the May ult though. Oh no, trapping! The Annihilate goes down. Viddy got trapped out by the May. Trading tanks though. Both teams are down to tank. Shadow finds one onto Amino. Oh, keeping everybody alive. Saginaw, nice. Finds a couple kills. Both teams trading out. It was good kills from both teams.
Absolutely, but it is just the Lucio and the May, so they are kind of forced back. They cannot attempt to get back the pressure of the freshly back Ramatra and the Genji and both supports. It is kind of just hard for them, so they have to kind of wait back for the Ramatra. They are just kind of stalling the timer.
They got to get their Ramatra. They're going to get the overtime. Now comes down to the fight on point. The EMP is going to be huge. Finds at least 2. Oh, Lucio manages to stay alive with the lamp. The lamp keeps everybody up. There's the Lucio ult keeping people alive. The Baptiste ult to do the extra damage. Popping all of the ults there. No holds barred.
Oh, but they couldn't get the picks. Unfortunately, not being able to pick off that Lucio enabled the Lucio just have that enough time frame alive to just hit that beat, which just saved everyone on Northwestern's team.
And while Northwestern had to get through all their ults, hey, the point is to get the control points. And they got the control point. So now Saginaw's going to be down there having to switch tanks. They're going to try a divier comp yet again. They got the Genji Blade and the Kitsune. Those two together is kind of like a Nano Blade.
Yeah.
Just be going down so he can respawn faster. Interesting. So Saginaw, of course, will have that initial advantage, you'd think, but because Northwestern got time to clean up a couple of Saginaw players, they've almost built 2 of their ults, and they're gonna get those for the next fight. And this map, this map is really good for poking. You got this really enclosed area that you can just place down a shield and poke from. This is gonna favor Saginaw really hard. The Kitsune is gonna go in there. We're gonna see if they can do anything. The Blade in the back line. In fact, he's staying alive as long as possible, taking up the entire time of that Blade. can't find anything else. Saginaw simply gets the rest of the kills there, and we'll start out with the fight. Meek is left alive, though.
Meek and Lucio is still alive. But it looks like Crispy is going to get this Lucio, maybe? No, unfortunately, Lucio does get out.
Lucios at this level are so good at staying alive. It's crazy. Stay alive. Oh, then we'll cut it there for copyright.
Well, we do see though SVSU kind of taking a lot of forward aggression here, trying to hold off the two main ways to attack this point.
That's going to be so much damage. They're going to be able to pop the Annihilate too. As soon as Annihilate and May Blizzard goes down, it's going to be super tough to keep everybody alive.
Yep.
We're going to see the Lucio ult to try to counter it. It's all going to come down to this fight. I'm going to predict Effort finds one, Meek finds another. Crispy does find a kill in the back line.
Get the Meek with the deflect though is kind of huge. But I don't.
Vinny's
But the
staying
double
alive.
Annihilate into the May
There's
Blizzard.
the May. There's the Blizzard.
Though they don't. I don't believe Northwestern has any supports alive. Or no, they have the Lucio. Never mind.
Oh, just
Okay.
keeping everyone. Saginaw put up a good fight there, but yep, the ults just came through. The Annihilates have been going Northwestern's favor. I think Effort has been getting that extra mileage out of the Annihilates. He's been using it, or they've been using it proactively. They've been starting the fight with it, and they've been cleaning up kills. Vidya has been having to use it a little bit more reactively to stay alive, to sustain, and can't use it to get the kills and get a snowball going. I think that's been a bit of a difference in this map. The Baptiste window just to keep Saginaw at bay and say, hey, this timer is a resource and we're gonna run it out. I think Saginaw has to win this fight. They won't have time for another one. Looking
We
for
see the EMP into the
After the
Baptiste.
best line, there goes the kill.
That's huge, especially because he didn't get hit by the beat, meaning that they're permanently down one player. They trade the Baptiste for the Lucio.
Meek finds another. Does Effort go down? If Effort goes down here, it's super possible. Crispy finds another. Viddy's just barely managing to stay alive. Finds a little extra tick damage. It's mostly just down to the DPS. Meek finds one on no HP. Just the May left
Just
alive.
Kiri.
Kiri can't quite do it. Maybe with a headshot. No, but Meek is there. And the timer's gonna tick up.
Wait, Somber's still alive!
It is still alive!
Bojakin!
It's gonna come down. Can't quite Meek.
Can the Doomfist land? Can the Doomfist touch?
I don't think the Doomfist can get in there. No ult. Wait, the Genji Blade though. There is a Genji
The
Blade.
touch into the Genji Blade.
If the Genji Blade
can they get enough?
onto Meek,
Is there enough
there's at
value
least
pressure out of
there's
this?
at least a bit of a kill. No Effort is there. Sagnaw's trickling in one at a time, but I think eventually it's gonna wear out. And as the timer ticks over, it'll be 3-1. Northwestern with a fantastic showing there. Some insane plays.
Some absolutely golden
Staying alive.
headshots.
Some crazy plays. Meek, of course, being stand out in the kill feed literally constantly. Support staying alive. I saw both Lucios almost never dying, just being able to zip around. Tank's doing fantastic job on both sides. At the end of the day, one team went home first, one team went home second. Northwestern takes that first. Congratulations to Northwestern College for winning this division. And Saginaw for getting second place. Both teams did a fantastic job getting to this point in time. And they put on a good show for us here tonight.
Absolutely. And I was seeing something in the Discord. I do believe that we hit nationals.
I think a couple of our teams, yeah.
I know Red, I think Red did. They just had to not get third.
Yeah.
Which by being second
By
place,
being
they did not get third or worse. So I do believe that means Red has enough points under NECC scoring ruling to make it to nationals.
Mm.
And it was supposed to be blue as well,
Mm.
but they changed how the scoring works. So so it's up in the air
There's
about
a mix
blue.
up. We'll see about that.
Yes.
We'll see. We're not sure. But I don't know if...
Oh no.
Did they miss by like 1 point? That's fair. At least we know Red's going, and I
It's
think
mildly
another
up in the air if
Saginaw
blue
team.
is.
We'll see. Yeah. I don't know if we'll be streaming for that. We'll keep you guys posted about how that's gonna work. But at least for now, I think that's all we'll have for Saginaw Esports. This was I believe our only team to make it to grand finals.
Yes.
And so I think that wraps it up. In case we don't see anybody for the rest of the season, and that's all we got. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor being on mic with Sword of Thunder here and everyone else I've cast with, and I'm happy to have been here.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys for the season. It's been a good season.
It has been absolutely great. We've seen some amazing players absolutely popping off in every game that they've played. Even if I've not even personally seen some of the games they've played, I'm sure that there's always some standout players that can always be appreciated. And we always appreciate the viewers because we make sure that we're doing this for all of you because we enjoy it. We like casting, we like hyping both teams up, not just our own home team. Making sure that everyone can feel appreciated and has like a general fun time. To any of our visitors, we thank you for joining us this evening. And to those of you at home, and for the rest of you, of course, have a great rest of your school year.
Have a good one.